Hey, this is Tony the Mayor from Experience, Strength, and Hope podcast. And I know I haven't did a podcast in a while. It's been a couple of months. I'm coming up with a new video format and just doing the whole podcast kind of over again, updated since this is a new year. This makes 2 years in this April that I've been doing my podcast, and I want to try something different. But a lot of people don't. I mean, I'm old school. I'm from Chicago, laying around in the bed at night, listening to talk radio in Chicago. That's how I grew up, listening to everything on the radio. Anything from Martin Luther King to Dick Gregory to Muhammad Ali fights, George Foreman fights, all that I listen to on the radio. So today's generation, they want to see you. They want to see your facial expression. Keep licking my lips, my mouth is dry. But they want to see your facial expression, see you doing, see that your mouth is dry, see that your lips are chapped, something like that. See, you might something they can comment on and put on TikTok and get 10,000 views on because you did a video with a booger on your nose or something like that. So that's what they want to see. So I am coming back to you with that. I did want to come to you, and I want to say that I did a podcast, and I really haven't told many of my friends, just a few of my friends about this, but I did a podcast a couple of years ago called The Day That I Found Out I Had Cancer, or prostate cancer. And I found out I had prostate cancer, and I did a whole podcast. You can go back and listen to it and talk about it and stuff. And I kind of shed light on it and how people would say, hey, it's prostate cancer. You can just get rid of that. All they do is remove your prostate. It's easy to treat. Most men survive out of it. It doesn't do this and that. That's for everybody telling you who haven't had prostate cancer. Nobody told you about the things you're going to have to experience afterwards. And, after surgery. I had surgery. I had full prostate removed. And I had surgery. I had it taken away, feeling good and feeling like I had conquered this thing, And the after surgery part is the worst. Everybody telling you it's easy to cure, but it's a lot of psychological things that happen. It's a lot of physical things that change in you, change in your body, even, as a man, And so, a year or so went by, and I found out that cancer had reoccurred. It was still there, and not my cancer, because it don't belong to me. The cancer is still there. It microscopically is still there somewhere in the prostate bed. And I went to the doctor. I did all kind of tests here recently since November. I found out earlier than that, but since November I went through a lot of different tests, and I found out they wanted me to make sure hadn't spread to the bones or outside the area where the prostate was removed. And thank God, after the PT scan and all that, it hadn't, and now they want to treat it. And according to what my Gleason score was before and the way my PSAs are increasing afterwards, they call it aggressive form that have to be treated. And because of the way that it's growing. Want to make sure it don't grow outside the area and into any of the organs. So I did my first treatment yesterday, and I will start radiation in 35 sessions of radiation in about 6 weeks. So right now I'm just going through the Lupron shot I took yesterday, injection that I took yesterday. That was my first one. And see how that affects me and stuff. But I'm fighting this thing, and I want you to continue to pray with me. Those who I haven't told yet, I'm sorry that I have to tell you like this, but I would rather let everyone know than saying it over and over and over again, So remember, men, though, do your checks, do your prostate exam. I know it's not fun, it's never been fun to me. If it is fun to you, then, hey, that's on you. But go as often if you want to. But it wasn't fun to me, but I know I need to get it done. And thank God I caught what I thought was early, but and went through surgery and everything and recovery. But I'm still dealing with it, and I'm still fighting it. And we expect in victory. And that's all I expect out of this. You know, I know people who went through this before and went through different stages and everything. And I count myself as an overcomer. And so please pray for me and look for my podcast, Experience, Strength, and Hope. You can see it on Spotify or see on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Anchor podcast, which Anchor has merged together and took over. Spotify has took over Anchor. And so you can also see it on there. So please look for my podcast coming up. I got various titles coming up. I did podcasts already. I just hadn't put them together because I was waiting on my new intro and outro and do it. And it's a lot of editing. You know, I do podcasts every week if I have somebody to edit it and put it together. You know, the video format, the audio format is easy to do. But if I have somebody to do it and you're going to tell me, I want to hear your podcast when you want to do it, you know how to edit, do it for me. I'll be more than happy. I do one every 2 weeks, you know, not every week, but every 2 weeks. So remember that. But I do have some podcast. I have one on experience that happened to me just this week, last week, within a week. It'll be a week Friday in my own driveway with an individual that made threats to me and in my driveway, you know, made threats and what it would do, and I had to get the police involved. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about on this, just like our involvement. I'm an African-American male. You guys can all see that. We have different views on different things. We have different things that we experience. A lot of you may have heard my podcast before on when we were in Chicago, you know, the day I was in Chicago, years and years ago, when the Chicago Police Department, you know, they roughed me and my wife up, had guns put on there, you know, and it was all by mistake. It was, they say they thought we were someone else, you know. We were over by the projects. We were going to pick up someone. And you can listen to that. That podcast is on there too. So I won't have to go through the whole story. Go listen to it about that. But this incident, I wanted to get the police involved because, you know, we want to do the right thing. I have a grandson that's a police officer in my city. So I was kind of reluctant to say anything about it. And I don't want to get into the podcast that I'm going to do, but I was kind of reluctant. But as an African-American male that's threatened by a white male, this is the second time that law enforcement officers were involved that asked me the question, did I feel threatened? And that's probably the worst thing you can ask me, because what am I? Because I'm an African-American male, I'm not supposed to be threatened? But this is the stage, this is the world that we live in right now. The things that are happening in America, that people can think they can say, do anything, tell you to shut up, get out of my face, you know, when you're not even dealing with them, think that they can boss you around because someone has encouraged them to think that they have the power to do this. And we'll get into that in the podcast. But, and I'm not, it wasn't a race issue at that time. I'm not trying to make it a race issue. The issue was telling a grown man to shut up on his property. So we'll get back to that. You see, I'm getting all worked up about it too. I got another one. I did this kind of comical about doing too much. You know, people who just do too much. You know, people, they just go the extra mile to do extra things. Like one instance, somebody, you email your boss email you back. You email another boss and they attach 30 more people to it to get them involved. You know, being on the down, you know, being sneaky with it, you know, like, well, let me let them know what he's been saying or doing, you know. That's like doing too much. Just let's communicate. Quit trying to do too much, you know. Like people who, you have a potluck at work and they bring a whole spread. Chicken, fried chicken, baked chicken, barbecue chicken. This is how I do everybody. Just kill my little rotel. So, just listen to me. I'm Tony the Mayor from Experience, Strength, and Hope podcast. Listen to me, and I hope that you find something that will enlighten you and stay tuned for my podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Experience, Strength, and Hope. Come back and continue to listen on any of our other platforms such as YouTube, Spotify, Anchor.fm, and Apple Podcasts. We encourage you to not only listen, but also reach out and share your stories of experience, strength, and hope at bigdog0862@gmail.com or 785-307-4662. I'm Anthony Timms, and this has been another podcast of Experience, Strength, and Hope from Tony DeMayer Timms. Be blessed, be strong, and most of all, be real.